People say Abyssinians are wild, too intense, too independent, too much. They said it like a warning, passed it down like a fact, even when it was never anything more than a story. Nobody told Yoda and Yoga any of that. And honestly, they were too busy saving her to care. This is the story of two cats who were simply looking for someone to belong to, and ended up becoming everything she never knew she needed. When we adopted Yoda and Yoga, we had no idea what their personalities would be like. Being Abyssinians, people had their assumptions: too energetic, too demanding, too wild-looking to be gentle. But honestly, I believed a cat's heart depends on how much love you pour into it, so I didn't listen to anyone. I adopted them anyway, and they proved to be nothing but two golden bundles of pure, relentless love. Yoda came first, bright copper-coated, with ears so large they seemed to belong to a creature twice his size. He had this way of looking at you, straight into your eyes, unblinking, like he was trying to read something written deep inside you. Yoga arrived 3 weeks later, a little smaller, a little softer in color, but carrying the same quiet intensity. From the very first night, they moved through the apartment like they had always lived there, like they already knew this was home. Neither of them cared much for being left alone. What they loved most, more than toys, more than treats, more than the warm patch of sunlight on the bedroom floor, was being close to each other, close to me. Every evening, without fail, by the time I sat down on the couch, both of them had already claimed their spots. Yoda on the left armrest, Yoga pressed against my right side, purring before I even touched him. Over time, the people in my life started to notice them. Friends who visited for the first time would pause at the door. "They look so intense," someone said once. Another person laughed nervously and stayed near the entrance for the first 10 minutes. I understood. Abyssinians have that effect. Those large amber eyes, that lean, muscular build, that stillness that somehow feels electric. But all Yoda and Yoga ever wanted was a little warmth. Every evening, Yoda would sit near the window and watch the street below. Not restless, not anxious, just watching, with those enormous ears turned forward like satellite dishes catching a signal. And every time someone he recognized passed by, his tail would flick. Once, just once, his version of a wave. Yoga had his own language. If I came home later than usual, he wouldn't meow at the door. He would simply find my left shoe, only ever the left one, carry it to the center of the room and sit beside it, patient, waiting, as if to say, "I noticed you were gone, I just wanted you to know." Sadly, not everyone saw what I saw in them. Some guests kept their distance the entire visit. Some friends would ask, half joking, half serious, "Are you sure they're friendly?" And I would watch Yoda and Yoga sitting perfectly still in the middle of the room, tails curled around their paws, looking back at the people who wouldn't come closer, and I would think, they're not the ones with the problem. They just wanted to be seen. Eventually, it started to weigh on me, not for my sake, for theirs. I found myself wondering, what can I do? How do I help people see past the sharp ears and the wild eyes? How do I show them that what lives behind all of that is just love, patient, quiet, unconditional love? And then, without planning it, something changed on its own. A neighbor knocked on my door one afternoon to return a package that had been delivered to the wrong address. Yoda was behind me when I opened the door. She looked down at him and froze for just a second. Then Yoda did something he had never done with a stranger before. He walked forward, slowly, deliberately, and sat down right at her feet and looked up at her. She laughed, a real laugh, surprised out of her. She reached down. He leaned into her hand. That was the beginning. If you're still here but haven't subscribed yet, honestly, that means a lot to me. Hit that button now. There is so much more of their story still to come, and I don't want you to miss a single moment of it. Word spread the way it only can in a small building, in a quiet way, through open doors and brief hallway conversations. The neighbor told someone else. That someone brought their daughter to meet them. The daughter told her friends. One afternoon, I counted 4 people sitting on my living room floor with Yoda and Yoga moving between them, calm and unhurried, allowing each person exactly as much closeness as they were ready for. Day by day, their world filled with more love than I had imagined possible. Yoga, who had once been invisible to every person who passed through that door, became the one people asked about first. How is Yoga? Before they even said hello to me. Yoda, who had sat at the window watching strangers walk past without stopping, now had people in the building who would slow down in the hallway just hoping the door might open. There is a moment I keep coming back to. It was an ordinary Tuesday. I had come home tired, the kind of tired that sits behind your eyes and makes everything feel heavier than it is. I hadn't said a word. I hadn't done anything differently. I just sat down on the floor with my back against the couch. Yoda was there in under a minute. He didn't jump up. He didn't demand anything. He walked over, turned once, and lay down across my legs, all of his weight settled and still. Yoga came quietly after. He pressed himself against my side and started to purr, low and steady, like something that had always been running, waiting for me to be still enough to hear it. I don't know how long we sat like that, long enough that the heaviness started to lift. Nobody told them I needed that. Nobody told them anything. They just knew. Those wild-looking faces that people once hesitated at now stand for something entirely different in this small corner of the world. They stand for patience, for showing up, for the kind of love that doesn't ask to be understood before it gives itself away. This story is proof that sometimes the biggest thing standing between love and a stranger is nothing more than a single moment of courage. One step forward, one hand extended, one cat who decides, without being asked, that you are worth sitting with. If this story touched something in you, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. And if you are ever thinking about adopting a cat, especially one that looks a little too intense, a little too wild, a little too much, please don't walk past. Those are so often the ones carrying the most love. Because Yoda and Yoga were never rescue cats. Nobody told them they were. They were too busy rescuing her. Do you think animals choose us, or do we choose them? Drop your answer in the comments. I'd love to know what you think.